Maria Holic is classic Shaft. This series feels like it was tailor-made just for the studio. A snappy, dialogue-rich surreal comedy with absolutely no writing filter in sight. An extremely hilarious experience and another solid notch in their belt. You'll never have a handle on this show. Maybe you think that the whole Maria is actually a man cross-dressing at an all-girls academy thing would take up a large focus of the show, but it ends up being mostly glossed over and only ever brought up for comedic effect. Maybe you think that the whole massive contradiction between the main character being a horny lesbian who only enrolled at a missionary school to be surrounded by young girls and isn't actually religious at all would lead into some jazz about religion, but the commentary that the show provides actually ends up being pretty level-headed. Everything about this show is absurd and filled with contradictions, but despite cranking up all the dials to the max, they managed to stitch it together with some amount of grounded continuity. The show is extremely dialogue heavy. Most bits stem from a character, typically Kanako, going off on some tangent and the resulting visual mayhem which accompanies it. This is exactly the kind of thing that Shaft is good at. Every scene is littered with quick cuts and surreal visuals that complement the dialogue perfectly. It borders on overwhelming, but they know exactly what they're doing and manage to dial in the visual noise to a perfect amount so as not to overwhelm or bore the viewer. Even bits which last a particularly long time, which is often commented on by the characters of the show, don't feel exhausting to watch. Because of the lack of filter on the writing side of things, this allows for the visual design team to match it in stride, and the result is pure absurdity. The only real flaw with the show is that sometimes the episodes do manage to become a little bit repetitive, especially near the end. This is mostly on a superficial level, but things do kind of fall into a loop of Kanako attempting to state her Yuri desires through extreme fantasies about the other students. On an internal level though, the episodes are jam-packed with witty dialogue and explore extravagant scenarios. They're merely strung together by this loose, overarching goal of degeneracy. This is helped by the cast being surprisingly large. They make use of the school setting well and make sure to incorporate a wide variety of characters, even if only for one-off jokes and whatnot. Even up to the final episodes, they still manage to introduce new characters and mesh them in seamlessly. Maria and Kanako are the core of it all, and their dynamic works extremely well. Maria may technically be the straight man to Kanako, but this is all circumvented by who he is on a foundational level, which is still a man cross-dressing as a woman just for fun, resulting in beautiful comedic irony. Every character is like this. On the surface level, they may appear to be more comparatively sound than the rest of the cast, but over time it's clear that they're all equally deranged. The result is a never-ending relay race of sanity, which is the fundamental principle of this show's comedic execution. It's constantly topping itself with every episode. Maria Holic is a somewhat underrated part of Shaft's history. Maybe people were misled by its description and expected a bunch of Yuri bait and cross-dressing, but these actually end up being pretty minor aspects of the show, and I think it managed to secure itself well among their comedy lineup. It's a non-stop rollercoaster ride of absurdity, and well worth watching.